Hi there folks, Darren here, and ready to talk about Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Now, it's actually amazing to think that in a year where everything has been turned upside down, developer Insomniac Games has managed to turn out two world-class PS5 exclusives. First with Spider-Man Miles Morales, and now Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. So, long story short, Rift Apart isn't just a damn good game, it is possibly an essential purchase for the PS5. It's the kind of game that you'd want to have on to show off what the console is capable of. It's just that good. Thanks to Sony, I got code for the game a few weeks ago, and I have been playing a whole lot of Rift Apart. And if you want to hear me wax lyrical about an adventure title that just may be a contender for the Game of the Year, well, sit down and let's get the show on the road.
Give a big welcome to the Grand Marshals of our parade, Ratchet and Clank! I, Captain Copernicus Leslie Quad, will be your host. With me, Skin Mars.
Well, everything is absolutely buggered. Well, everything in the universe is on its way towards said calamity, as Rift Apart picks up a couple of years after Ratchet and Clank last saved the universe. Semi-retired, it's not long before Dr. Nefarious makes his latest play for power, this time stealing the Dimensionator gun and using it to hop into a reality where his dimensional counterpart has managed to take over that galaxy.
Put down the Dimensionator, Nefarious!
Put down the Dimensionator! Yeah, right. Today, you will see what losing feels like. Spoiler! It's exhausting!
The big twist here? Well, this dimension has its own troublemaking Lombax in the form of Rivet, who easily takes the top spot in the franchise's cast thanks to some incredible animation from Insomniac and Jennifer Hale's quirky voice acting. More than that though, this latest adventure, it wears its heart on its sleeve, with its story having some surprisingly emotional beats and a number of other great characters thrown into the mix. Not only a terrific game for longtime Ratchet and Clank fans, Rift Apart lays the groundwork for newcomers who try out the franchise for the first time, easily striking a brilliant balance along the way, and by the time the adventure is over, you're going to be so hungry for more adventures starring the most adorable heroes in the PlayStation library.
What have I done?
What have you done?
Who are you?
Someone with a lot of questions. Let's go for a ride.
Wait, I have to find my friend.
So how does it play? Well, if you've been around since the first Ratchet and Clank game, you'll pretty much feel right at home here. The short answer is that this new entry in the series, it sticks to the basics. Run, gun, jump, and bonk enemies as they get close to you. There's nothing inherently complex about Rift Apart, as you're whacking goons with an oversized power tool, collecting some of the wildest weapons to ever grace a console, and taking on a few puzzles between action-packed boss fights. The other big question though is, how does the game function with its key centerpiece, the dimensional rifts that threaten to destroy all of reality? And bear with me now guys, because I've tried to record this paragraph about 4 times and I keep doing a blah 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 stumble when I say this, so let me see if I can get it right this time. So, according to the script I've written, hyped in the initial reveal, these portals are more closely interwoven into the fabric of Rift Apart's story, rather than random reality holes that you can jump through to instantly visit one of several other worlds, although such elements do come into play during more scripted moments. Yes, I finally got that paragraph right. Back to the script, I suppose. So instead, you'll regularly find dimensional rifts that you can use as a tactical advantage, essentially teleporting to other parts of the stage when you need a breather, and it is an admittedly more organic tool for keeping the game fresh and fun. It's not the only trick up the Lombax sleeve though, because Rift Apart throws players into several puzzles, as Clank has to help fix the multiverse on the astral plane, and there's a chance to fight computer viruses with an adorable little companion named Glitch, and even some high velocity fun using speedles, super fast critters with a clear need for speed. As a PS5 game though, Rift Apart's incredible gameplay is just part of the appeal, with the other big draw being how well the game integrates with the DualSense controller. Now, Astro's Playroom and Returnal have been outstanding examples of using their peripheral to add something extra to an experience, and Rift Apart does that with a wonderfully chunky sense of haptic feedback. Considering that Ratchet and Rivet can whip out all manner of robot-busting tools of mass destruction, the DualSense integration provides more than enough variety on this front when you squeeze the trigger, and it is complemented by the speaker broadcasting various sounds to further enhance the gunplay. One prime example is when you freeze enemies with a gun that lobs balls of icy destruction, which then results in not only the trigger losing all resistance as a new round is loaded, but a satisfyingly clanky sound effect when you wallop those goons with your melee attack. Or let's look at a beefy shotgun, which has more subtle layers of resistance to help you decide whether you want to unleash all barrels of destruction or maybe just one or two of them. Or maybe there's a minigun that you kind of favor that spews tiny black holes and that sends the controller into a vibrating fit. There's a grenade launcher that allows you to use the aiming trigger resistance to gauge how far you want to hurl an explosive. It's just, oh my dudes, it's just pure haptic bliss right there in your hands. You can of course switch all those features off, but they are a pretty enjoyable way to play the game, and it really shows it off as a complete PS5 package. So many. The absurdity of Ratchet and Clank has always been best showcased when you can whip out a weapon of mass destruction from your magic pockets, and Rift Apart doesn't disappoint on that front. The core meat and potatoes gunplay, it also feels superb, thanks in part to that arsenal of weapons that can range from your standard pew pew blasters to something that feels like it was stripped from the deck of a planet destroying super weapon. There's more to each of these glorious guns though, as they can be leveled up and further augmented as you gain experience, and the amount of explosive chaos you can create with them is absolutely unreal. What you can unlock is just bonkers. Standard laser blasters make way for explosive shotguns, a rifle that turns enemies into 16-bit obstacles. There's a glove that summons a horde of killer robot dogs to your side. There's a lot of gunplay on offer here, and part of the charm of Rift Apart is not only earning enough cash to buy everything, but also the resources to bulk them up for the challenges that lie ahead. Is Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart a long game? Short answer, nope. The first run of Rift Apart's campaign will likely take you around 6 to 8 hours to complete, but it is an enjoyably breezy run from start to finish, one that comes complete with its own story highlights and moments where you'll pump your fists into the air. That's not to say that the game doesn't have some distractions that can be chosen to engage in to add some hours onto the runtime though. For example, there are more than 24 gold bolts that are hidden across the game, and there's a fair number of cosmetic items to hunt for by exploring various rifts in each stage, and there's another side quest that ends with a very cool reward once you are finished. Once the end credits have rolled though, you'll be able to tackle the game in challenger mode, which is, well, extra challenging. More enemies, more aggro, and even more cool stuff to grab. I'd normally scoff to the max even at replaying a game, but considering just how well put together Rift Apart's story and levels are, this is a game that is just easily worth playing more than once. It's just that damn good. If ever there was going to be a game that would make you feel absolutely justified about spending a silly amount of cash on a big TV, this is the game that you use to eliminate any lingering buyer's remorse. I played the game using its fidelity mode option, which goes for the native 4K approach at 30 frames per second, and the end result was incredibly vibrant and it just popped with insane levels of charm. It's worth noting that on day one there will be access to other visual features that are pretty much standard with games these days. A 60 frames per second performance mode that downscales the visuals down a bit, as well as a performance pro mode that somehow aims for 60 frames per second and manages to get some fancier elements up and running. It's magical stuff, I presume. It must have been done by sacrificing a few herds of sheep to the dark gods of gaming. But back to the overall experience, and I have to say there is just a staggering number of overt and covert details in any level, all shining in a galaxy that is beautiful to behold and even more fun to risk your tail in when the armies of an intergalactic madman descend upon you. I mean, you can even count the number of teeth on Rivet and Ratchet. That is just proper next gen stuff right there, when you can count smile bones. I think it's impossible to put down your controller once you finish Rift Apart for the first time and not have a smile on your face. This is a game that is just chicken soup for the soul. It is nourishing and positive content. It's just incredibly wholesome to consume. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart is a game that is both loud with its set piece moments and surprisingly introspective with its emotional haymakers, all of which come together to create a colourful and just this wonderfully mad PS5 showcase. It's not just one of the best games you can have on the PS5 right now, it is the definitive Ratchet and Clank adventure for the next generation of gaming.